often in the news, now a strong general manager. What responsibility does the federal government have in funding operating and capital for Metro, and how will you advocate for that funding?
Great. Well, thank you again. And we have been working on this since I was elected, and actually before, having worked on the competitive bidding legislation to make sure we could get the Silver Line going to Loudoun. But after the accident in January of 2015, we really brought people together on a bipartisan basis and made sure the safety culture was going to be the top priority. And I commend our new general manager for hiring new safety people, for clearing out some of the dead wood that they had in management, and really putting new practices in place. The $150 million a year that had already been in the system to be able to support Metro, when my own party tried to cut that out, they cut out $75 million. I worked on a bipartisan basis with the region to get that restored. And believe me, having a majority member in there in my conference to push this was a very strong reason why we were able to get that restored in there. Now, I also worked on the issue of crime at Metro. We see rising crime there. We had incidents of a rape at 10 o'clock in the morning that wasn't reported for over a month. So when we had a hearing, I asked the general manager, this needs to be reported immediately. I'm happy to say he changed the policy that very day. So I am working every day. I have been out to the ROC, the control center. I am talking about controlling costs, and I do think there needs to be a federal role in it. But as you had recently, when you had the governors and the mayor here, there's still a lot of work to be done and resistance on that. But I am already working as part of the bipartisan coalition on that.
Thank you. Ms. Bennett, 90 seconds for you.
Yes. Our region and our local economy depend on a safe and reliable metro system. 40% of our federal workforce takes the metro. We need safety and we need reliability, but we do need to fund the improvements that need to be made. We need this system to be safe. I would point out that we wouldn't have a metro system going to Dulles Airport and into Loudoun County were it up to the Congresswoman. When she was in the House of Delegates, she voted against the funding for Metro, against the largest bipartisan transportation bill to come out of Richmond. And she did it because she had signed the Grover Norquist no tax pledge. This is political extremism taken to the hilt. I mean, it's a perfect example of it. We need to fund Metro. Metro needs $18 billion in capital repairs. This is precisely why I support a federal infrastructure spending authority, much along the lines of Senator Mark Warner's Bridge Act. There's a bipartisan bill in the Senate. Senator Warner has signatures on both sides of the aisle. There's also a bill in the House. John Delaney has a bill that would provide infrastructure spending. That is the kind of spending and thinking that we need to fix our metro system and fix our infrastructure across the country.
Thank you. Congresswoman Comstock, 60 seconds.
Sure. Well, actually, as I mentioned, the competitive bidding bill that we worked on together with Jim and many of my colleagues and was supported on a bipartisan basis by this chamber and the business community. Many of our former governors who were Democrats supported my competitive bidding bill. We wouldn't have gotten the vote to get to Metro to Dulles and to Loudoun if we hadn't had that competitive bidding bill that you supported. So that was my legislation. As my colleague here, Tom Russ, knows, I did always support Metro. The budget that is mentioned, I mean, you weren't here, Luann, you were elsewhere, not working in Virginia, but I did, that was a Medicaid issue that I was concerned about in that budget, but I have already worked to restore the money. I've worked with my colleagues, John Delaney, on legislation regarding Metro, as well as Congressman Dan Lipinski, who is on the Science and Technology Committee, where I chair a subcommittee on research. We have a bill that's going to be working on how we can deal with safety and terrorist threats on Metro. And so I am immersed in this every day. When we had emergency drills, I was down there working with them. I'm meeting with Paul Wiedefeld and his leadership team. This summer, I went to one of their emergency meetings in August to hear firsthand.
Thank you so much. Ms. Bennett, the next question is for you.